Good morning. It is Monday, May 11th, 2020. I'm Keith Tebow. Hope you all had a very nice Mother's Day weekend as we continue on another week here on FRCMedia. And something we've been doing at 11 o'clock on Mondays, we've been checking in with our local business community. And we've been speaking with the SouthCoast Chamber. And I'm pleased to be joined this morning by the co-CEOs, Rick Kidder and Michael O'Sullivan. Gentlemen, how are you this morning?
We're doing great, and thank you, Keith, for having us as always.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Keith. We're doing great.
I appreciate it. I'm glad everyone is doing well through all this. You know, we've been talking on a weekly basis past couple of weeks. Thanks to your connections, we've been able to bring on a couple of local businesses that are helping out during the pandemic. But we wanted to get some updates from the chamber this week on what is happening there for local businesses. Rick, let me ask you first as we get started. You know, there's still some assistance out there. There's been the second round of PPP available.
Yep.
As far as you know, in terms of member businesses, are they still taking advantage of it? And I guess there may be still some money available, correct?
I think there is still some money available. And at this point, I think what people need to do is contact any of their local bankers who are a part of the PPP program, which is anybody who does business with the SBA. It's most of the local banks. If they have a relationship already, they should go with the bank where they already have a relationship. If they do not, many of the banks will process their PPP even without that banking relationship. So all they need to do is go to the SBA.gov and get the essential information, and that will include an opportunity to download participating banks. But yes, that money is still out there.
All right. And, so I know, Michael, there hasn't been, we talked about this weeks ago, that there's really you're unsure how many of your member businesses have been able to be connected. But are you hearing from more of them that, they may be starting to receive some of their money and they're seeing some positive things through the program?
Yes, we are. We're definitely hearing from folks that they've received the money and it's helping. And most recently, one of the bigger challenges or concerns that the people who have received the money were having related to folks that were out on unemployment, because there's certain parameters that people need to satisfy in terms of number of employees. And we're getting some people, as they start to open up, they're getting employees who are saying they're not ready to come back to work. They don't want to come back to work yet. And, some of it is related to the actual unemployment and the extra $600 they're getting. But you also have people who aren't ready to come back to work because of daycare. The lack of daycare at the moment is a big issue, and that's a big concern moving forward. So the government has they've loosened up some of those rules and regulations depending upon why somebody may not come back to work, and what actually counts.
Yeah. I know that, it's May 11th. As of right now, as of May 11th, a little after 11 o'clock, Governor Baker is expected to probably announce this week that some loosening of some of the restrictions, as the stay-at-home order right now is restricted to, expected to end, rather, 1 week from today, May 18th. And I'll ask either one of you can jump in. As far as what you're hearing, what may that be in terms of restarting or starting the restarting here in Massachusetts and on the South Coast? Anyone can answer that one.
Keith, I think a good example is, how this weekend the governor opened up golf courses. And there's a lot of restrictions on golf courses. You have to either carry your bag or use a hand cart. You need to do all the social distancing stuff. The clubhouses aren't open. You can go out and walk a golf course and hit the ball, and then you get back in your car and leave. And there's no real social part of it, which historically has always been. But that's a good example, because no matter what business you go into, whether it's a restaurant business, hopefully soon the salons and barbershops and things are all open. But there's going to be a lot of restrictions and changes. And really, it's not even so much the restrictions that you're going to have. It's going to be how, how everything to do with COVID-19 has changing everything and changing the
Right.
way people do business.
I
Yeah,
think
and I know, Rick. Go
yeah,
ahead, Rick. I know that in Rhode Island, the governor there sort of eased some of the restrictions beginning this past weekend. Does that play an impact at all? And Rick, I'll let you just add to what Mike was saying.
I think it does. I think one of the things, and we were talking about this in a staff meeting this morning, is that to some degree, I'm sure that Governor Baker, where Massachusetts has been hit significantly harder with COVID-19, Governor Baker's going to look at the success or lack of success in Rhode Island as part of his way of assessing what's going to happen here. If I had to make my predictions, I think we're going to find a couple of things. Massachusetts, being physically a larger state than Rhode Island, is probably going to see some phased lifting of some of these restrictions that may be geographic in nature. He may release some restrictions on the Berkshires first. Our area has seen not the significant flattening that has been in existence in other parts of the Commonwealth. So right now, I think we're going to see a very slow and judicious approach. I don't think none of this is going to look like a light switch suddenly being turned on. We're going to find ourselves as we go forward with guidance that comes out on a weekly basis, which is going to be geared around, let's not have this thing spread any further. Let's not create a spike where a spike need not be created and then have to shut down the economy again. So I think you can expect that the governor is going to be very judicious about this. He's going to be watching Rhode Island carefully and seeing where they have success, or if they stumble, where those stumbles may be.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and I'm sure next week when we get together, we'll be able to talk a little bit more in terms of specifics as the governor releases his recommendations for slowly reopening the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I know that we've talked about this before, gentlemen, that the chamber continues to do its work in terms of educating its members, getting its members the resources it needs. I know you hold a number of events any given week. Mike, let me ask you, how have those events been attended in terms of some of your members attending some of the webinars that you and the chamber sponsor from time to time?
The events have gone very well. We're trying to make sure that the topics are really, really pertinent to what's happening as businesses continue to operate. What's happening and how are they changing? Last week we had one of the folks from AIM, the Associated Industries of Manufacturing, come and speak to our membership, and it went very, very well. It was really very well received by the folks on the call. So those types of topics, and that was really just kind of talking about lots of different parts of managing and running a business, both large and small business. And we've got a couple coming up this week. We've got one actually on the Health Connector, which is talking about how to utilize the Health Connector, the state Health Connector, when you purchase your health insurance. So we've got a lot of good things going on. We've also, and as we continue our networking events are really well received. Show me not showing me the money. No pants, no shoes. That's what we're calling it, and that's going very, very well.
Yeah. And Rick, as we move forward, I know that prior to this conversation, we talked about other ways that the chamber can help its members, and I know that you've got and the chamber has some news concerning memberships within the chamber. So why don't you talk a little bit about those, and then I'll play a video to show some of it.
Sure. Actually, what we've devised, Mike and I have kind of worked on and got approval from our executive committee and our board to do kind of loosening of some of the restrictions that we normally have. Our members who may have been due in January, February, are normally written off if they don't renew. That doesn't happen very often, we're glad to say, but this has been an extraordinary time. So one of the things that we're doing is canceling our write-off policy. We're allowing people to stay with us. We want to be able to serve the business community, and we're giving our members some options. If we will move their anniversary date, wherever it was, from January to June, if they want to pay us in September, they can pay us in September. If they want to spread their payments out over the rest of our fiscal year, we'll work with them to make sure that that can happen. We recognize that for all of our businesses, large and small, cash flow is an issue. And it's an issue for us as an organization as well. But we want to stand with them. The second thing that we've done, and this will be also in the video, is that we have done something that I don't think any chamber in the country has yet done. We are offering free membership to anybody who is not a member from now until September 1. And that free membership allows them the luxury of participating in all of our seminars, all of our networking events, all of the things that we are doing. And then when we finally go live, cross our fingers, when we finally go live, they'll be able to participate as well. And then in September, they can make a decision whether they want to join the chamber or not. But at least what we have done in the meantime is serve the business community, which is our mission.
All right, let's hear more of these opportunities in a video produced by the One South Coast Chamber.
One South Coast Chamber loves our region and we love our business community. That's why, effective immediately, we're proud to announce that we are going to be offering free chamber memberships for all interested non-member businesses until September 1st, 2020. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that you're going to get a free membership with our chamber, no questions asked. You're going to get all the services that all of our members get: connectivity, networking opportunities, professional development and educational workshops, a listing in our online directory, and the opportunity for referral services for our 1,500 member strong database. Now's the time to act. If you want more information, click above. Also effective immediately, for all of our current chamber members, we are going to allow you the opportunity to either defer your One South Coast Chamber membership dues renewal payments till September 1st, 2020, or you can work with us on a financing package that works better for you. Look, we know these are crazy times, and we don't want to add any more stress in your lives than already that's existing. Just know that we're here for you, and we're going to continue to support you in your mission, because we know that we are stronger together than apart.
Rick, you mentioned this, that in some ways the chamber is sacrificing to provide these resources. How will it impact your organization financially, and continue to provide the webinars and the other information that you've been doing right along?
Well, we're no different from any other business in the sense that we have had to address some major concerns on the financial front from COVID-19. We're a nonprofit, we're a break even, but we are a 501c6 organization. So we, as a 501c6, unfortunately, we're in a donut hole and we're not able to participate in the PPP programs. So here we are, one of the primary companies that is sending people to get the dollars that they can get from the federal government. And at the moment, we can't access them ourselves. That's a challenge that we know is being addressed by our lawmakers, and we hope will be resolved soon. But obviously, about 35-40% of our budget is built around events. And our events are people gathered together. Where we've been very lucky is that in recent days, we've received some significant sponsorship dollars to help us put on our virtual events, including Bank 5, which will be doing our seminar series. We had Isaacson Solar, who sponsored our networking opportunities. So we're trying to be creative ourselves in how we can go forward and take care of our financial needs so that we can continue to pay and maintain our staff. But we've all made some changes. We're no different from anybody else. So we don't feel sorry for ourselves. We just have to keep moving and help the business community.
And Michael, as we wrap up again, even though in the video there is some information about finding out how new members can take advantage of the benefits. So how can people really connect to the chamber to find out about either deferring their membership payments or becoming a new member?
They can contact me. They can contact Rick. The video says you can contact Ian Abreu or Kimberly Moniz, Dorothy Vitello. Really, you could talk to anybody that you know at the chamber, and we'll help you, because everybody has been really actively involved in the process of coming up with this plan and how we're going to implement it and who are we offering it to, and answering any questions. So you can just talk to anybody at the chamber or email anybody at the chamber, and we'll be happy to work with you.
And keep our phones forward to us. So even though our offices are basically empty, if somebody calls the chamber number and wants to connect with Mike or to me or to anybody, they'll be connected automatically to our cells.
Right.
All right, gentlemen. As always, I appreciate your time and continued good luck, and we'll talk again next week.
Thanks,
Thank you
Keith.
so much, Keith.
And I want to thank you all for joining us today, and make sure you visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest information on COVID-19 and everything else on how we're covering the community here in Fall River. So for all of us here at FRC Media, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon.